This video is sponsored by YFood. Okay, check this out. Ain't I just the best boyfriend ever? His, hers, mine, Hannah's. The two perfect dailies. The BMW M4 competition that I rebuilt, looking nice. And Hannah's Audi RS5, looking a little bit sorry for itself. So if you missed the last video on the Audi RS5, they actually picked this up, a mega cheap from auction for just £12,000. Yes, it's got a few dings and scratches here and there, but it won't be long before we can get this on the road. Now, I bought this RS5 for my girlfriend Hannah. This is going to be her new daily car, and I think it's going to turn out really good, but we've got to figure out what exactly is wrong with it. Now, although it does look pretty obvious what's wrong with it, it's been in a front end smash, we don't actually know the full depth of the damage until we actually get this in the ramp. Now, clearly the obvious damage is the bonnet. There's no wing, the bumper's all smashed, there's no passenger headlight at all. This radiator is absolutely smashed in, causing a huge coolant leak as well. Both front and rear tyres have popped and they're completely gone, but other than that, it doesn't look too bad. Now, it's inevitable that we're going to find some damage that we didn't quite expect. It always happens with these crash damaged cars from auction, but so far, so good with this thing. I mean, for starters, the interior is absolutely immaculate. There's barely any wear on the seats. For a 2012 car, which has only done 39,000 miles, it's looking in really good condition, apart from the outside.
At the mall, 'cause your mama forgot. I know it hurts.
Okay, so we're in the ramp and we're ready to start taking off the damaged parts to hopefully expose no more damaged parts. So one thing that I have noticed, other than the black badges, which is sort of like an aftermarket modification, is this on the rear lights. Now, I'm pretty sure that the RS5 doesn't do that from standard. It sort of steps. They tried to make it look like a swoop, but it's not a swoop, it's sort of a step. That, I don't know, that's kind of annoying for me. I don't know, what do you guys think? But other than that, the car's looking good. Now, there's one thing I want to fix firstly, although it does sound really good, and that's the exhaust. So let's crack on with that.
What's your story?
So when the RS5 arrived, when we started it, we noticed that it was a lot louder than what it should have been. And this is because the exhaust looks like it's disconnected from the back part of it. Quick and easy fix, just needs an exhaust sleeve to go over the top, and job done. Okay, exhaust fix, at least that's one thing out of the way. I think it is going to sound pretty tame now, but, well, there's only one way to find out. He's so dead. We definitely need an aftermarket exhaust because that is, well, it's like a Prius now. Okay, so with the exhaust done, it's time to move on to the front end. And one thing that is severely damaged is the bonnet. So I'm going to remove that first, and it's easier to access all the parts of the front of the car. Now, with the bonnet being damaged, it's pretty likely that the hinges will be bent and damaged as well. So I always like to replace these when replacing a bonnet as well. So these are going to come straight off. Now, once the bonnet is off, we've got to remove the bumper as well, which is also pretty damaged. We've got to remove the top plastic, remove the bolts at the top of the bumper, onto the driver's side wheel. Then we can remove all the arch lining, so we have access to the two bolts which hold the bumper to the wing. Once these two bolts are undone, then we can go underneath the car, undo every single bolt which connects the bumper to the under tray, and then we can finally lift the bumper off. And there wasn't actually really any damage behind the bumper, which is good. But the mystery is, on the passenger side wheel, there is some suspension damage, but it was really hard to see it. Okay, so we are getting there. We could have got quite lucky with this, or we could be quite unlucky. Not quite sure yet. Now, there's clear obvious damage, which is obviously over here, which we'll get to, but the sort of not so obvious damage is in this region here. Now, there's clearly something wrong with the suspension because it has been pushed back and it's causing the tyre to rub on this side skirt here. Now, Audi and generally most German cars tend to like plastering loads of suspension arms all over the place. And that is what's making it quite difficult to identify what exactly is bent here. So underneath, you've got the lower front suspension arm, a straight arm going from here all the way to there. Then you've got the lower rear suspension arm. This is more of a banana shape. Then up top, you've got the upper front suspension arm and the upper rear suspension arm. You've then got track rod ends, you've got anti-roll bars, you've got drop links, and of course the suspension strut as well. And another possibility, the whole hub could actually be bent. Now, I think I've learned from my mistakes with this type of thing, and instead of replacing arm by arm to find out what exactly is bent, I've just gone ahead and ordered a full new new suspension leg on this side, second hand, including the drive shaft and all the arms. And if something is not right after then we have a problem. But before we crack on with that, it's time for a Y food. Now the time now is 6 minutes past 1. It's pretty much lunchtime for me, and what I normally do is order food in because I want to crack on with whatever project I'm working on at the time. But I don't have to resort to junk food now because I've got Y food. Now, Y food is a meal replacement drink. It's not a protein shake, it's not a diet shake. It simply just replaces one of your meals. Now, inside one of these shakes, there's 26 vitamins and minerals. It's high in fiber, it's high in protein, it's lactose free, it's gluten free, and there's no added sugar. And yes, just like the modifications I do on cars, not everyone's gonna like the same thing. But that's why Y food have made loads of different flavors available, like happy banana, fresh berry, coffee, and coconut. So to help you guys find your favorite flavor of Y food, there's a link in the description box below now for a taster pack of Y food, and there's also a discount code here as well. Once again, thanks Y food for sponsoring this video. Let's start stripping this RS5 even further. Okay, so we're going to leave the suspension for now, and we're going to work from the front of the car backwards, starting at this front lower radiator, which is taking a pretty big hit. It's leaking coolant, so we've got to take this off and remove it. There's loads of bolts and brackets holding it in, but the way I see it, the harder it is to take it apart, the more well put together it actually is. Along with the lower radiator came off the secondary air pump as well. Okay, so far, so good. We look like we could have got away with things now. Apart from the suspension, we're not quite sure about that yet. Now, we can see this chassis leg and the frame leg and everything there. It looks like no damage has actually happened to that. We've got the lower radiator off now, the secondary air pump, which was damaged, and all the brackets that were holding that on. There's still damage up here, but we'll get onto that. So here's the lower radiator. That's obviously damaged and smashed to smithereens. And then we've got this secondary air pump. This just blasts air into the intake when you cold start the car. I think it's for better efficiency or something. It only works when you start the car. It's something to do with emissions or something. Not that that's your highest priority when you're driving a 4.2 V8. Now, I'm still not at the point where we can start putting stuff back together yet because we've got to deal with the suspension and this thing right here. So this part right here is a huge piece which actually holds on the radiator, the aircon condenser, and pretty much everything. Even the crash bar is connected to it. We've got to get to this because this is all bent all the way up to here. Now, I have managed to pick one of these up. That is in here, and that was only 100 quid second hand, but we'll get onto the prices and everything that's going to cost to repair this thing later. For now, we've got to tackle this. I'm absolutely dreading this. Okay, so this job turned out to be a lot more time consuming than I originally thought. Pretty much the whole front end of the car has got to come off. I started with the driver's side headlight, got that out along with the bracket which holds the headlight as well. The part that we're trying to remove is actually sandwiched between the crash bar and the chassis of the car. Once I'd loosened all the bolts for the crash bar, I realised I couldn't pull that out without moving the radiator forward as well. Now, the radiator can be removed from the top by undoing these sort of pins here, which twist and unclip from the top. Once these pins are out, we can then disconnect the top two hoses. There was then an oil line at the top of the radiator, which I assume was for some sort of oil cooler, which needed to be disconnected, and then I could remove the crash bar. Along with the coolant radiator, there's also an oil cooler at the bottom, which needs to be removed, and obviously to remove that, we need to remove the lines going to it first. Then I can access the lower radiator hose, remove that which let out all the remaining coolant in the radiator, then finally lift the radiator free to give me access to the plastic part that we need to get off. Right, the full front end is now off the Audi RS5. That was an absolute mission after doing like the M4, the Golf R, which both have turbos on and obviously intercoolers as well. This is a naturally aspirated car, and there was so many bolts to undo. Okay, so here we go. Here is the 4.2 V8 in all its glory, exposed at the front of the car. Now, there is a ridiculous amount of radiators, way more than I expected. I think this thing on the bottom here is an oil cooler. I don't know whether that's for the engine or the transmission. I think that's the engine oil cooler. Then we've got the lines here for the transmission oil cooler. So we've got a line at the bottom there and one at the top here. The rest, we've got air conditioning, then we've got the coolant as well. But that is a whole, it's a mess. I don't know how I'm gonna put this thing back together. And all of this work is because of this thing here. It's actually only held in by 4 bolts, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, but we did have to strip the whole front end to get to that part. Now I've got a new one here, a brand used second-hand one. Worst thing, this was fully bent. I've just bent it up and kind of realized that probably I could have got away with just using that one, but we won't talk about that now.
What you gonna do?
Okay, so on goes the new plastic surround. I then got my grips out and started to sort of straighten the chassis up, but don't worry, we will be replacing that. And then it was just a simple case of putting all the radiators back on. Now these 2 electrical connectors here were for the fans, which were quite difficult to get to from underneath the car. So we're going to lean the radiator up to the car, connect those electrical connectors up, and then bolt it to the car after those electrical connectors are in. And then we can connect the top hose, the lower hose, the aircon hose, and all the oil lines as well to the oil cooler. Once they're connected, we can go in with the new lower radiator. I got this second hand with a full front end, which I find it's always easier just to buy from one person. Yes, you probably end up paying more, but you're also paying for the convenience of having all the parts at once, instead of trying to shop around for loads of different parts. Back on goes the crash bar, in goes the radiator pins, and we now have a sort of complete front end.
Keep your hands to your lips, don't talk about it. Real eyes, real lies all the time.
Okay, 100% this is not a job I want to be doing again. This is absolute graft, and we're kind of stuck. When I say we, I mean me. Okay, so what we've gained so far is now we've got a straight sort of plastic bar for the base of everything. We've still got that to assess, but we'll get to that, and we've still got the bent suspension. Now this is where I'm sort of stuck and kind of things that I didn't really expect. So this wire here, which goes to this horn, it sort of branches off to go to an airbag connector which sits underneath the headlight, and then it goes off here, and it's, well, there's I think 4 wires which looks like they've been pulled, and they look like they've been pulled out of plug, not quite sure. So that's definitely going to need Googling, or if any of you guys know where exactly those wires are meant to go to, then let me know in the comment section below. Scrap that, I've actually found where they've came from. I've stripped all this back, and I can see that there's 4 wires here which are obviously pulled apart, which connect to those wires there. So we're going to need a new plug for this, and then we're going to have to fuse those wires to those wires. Fantastic. So we'll ignore that wiring for now. Quite obviously, the car needs headlights, and that's exactly what we're going to do next. Let's do it. Okay, driver's side headlight is in. We know that works. We know that all fits because, well, that was on before. Moving on to the passenger side, we have the passenger side headlight holder. We managed to get this with a full front end, but we'll get onto that. And at the back there, you can see that is the airbag sensor that connector goes into, which we're going to have to get a new one for. Okay, now as always, in Matt Armstrong fashion, we always have an issue with headlights. Now, one of the subscribers, shout out to you, said you had a passenger side headlight for the Audi RS5, and well, I bought it off you, sent it me. Unfortunately, it has been damaged. The clip has broken on the top there, but I'm sure we can plastic weld that. But that's not the main issue. So this is the driver's side headlight, and as you can see, there's a sort of little ballast here for God knows what. Now on the new passenger side headlight, we've got a ballast on the side and a ballast underneath there. But on top here, well, there's nothing. It's completely blanked off. So I've got into the boot of the RS5 to find the remains of, well, the old headlight to see if that ballast was there. And well, yes it was. Here is the ballast that should go onto that, but well, it doesn't go to anything, it's blanked off. So that's making me think that this headlight is not right for the RS5, but there's only one way to find out, and that is to plug it in, and we're gonna find out the hard way whether this actually works. I really doubt it. I imagine this is probably off an A5, not an RS5. I don't know what the difference would be, but let's find out. Now I appreciate the help and the support, but I just think that this is definitely not going to work. Driver side headlight all working, the little xenon running light and that headlight. Passenger side is working. What is that ballast for if the passenger side is working? Let's try the indicators. This is where I think we might lose out. Let's see. No, both of them, they're working. We've got the daytime running light, we've got the headlight, we've got the daytime running light, we've got the headlight, we've got the indicator. Next stop, full beam. Let's see if full beam works. It's working. Left one working. Come on! Who says we don't like Audis? Now you see, if that was a BMW or a Volkswagen, that definitely wouldn't have worked. Somehow the RS5 pulls through and it's working. Get in. Okay, so at this point we should have now pretty much a full watertight engine. So we should be okay to put some coolant in there, let it run up to temperature and check everything's okay. Now we are still going to have an airbag light on due to that not being plugged in, but we're probably going to have a bunch of other lights on as well due to, well, everything else not being plugged in. But let's top this thing up and hopefully nothing leaks. Okay, come on, fingers crossed, no leaks. Yes, I think we're onto a winner here. I can't see any leaks going on at the minute and it is sounding nice and quiet and smooth, but we do have a bit of bad news. Now that passenger headlight that we installed, which is missing the ballast, I think we may have found what that ballast was for. So other than the few faults on the dash, which we'll get to, we have a new fault, which is that one there, and that is Audi adaptive headlight. It says it's defective, which is probably what that ballast is for. Now I think the job of the adaptive headlight is to do with the dip beam in the car, whether it adjusts it up or down due to the load in the car, or it could be full beam or not. I'm gonna have to investigate further with that one. But despite that fault, the engine light and the airbag fault, it's sounding pretty good. Nice and smooth, and it's now ran up to temperature. And on that note, we are actually stumped here, and I'll show you why. Now my next job will be to completely finish this front end off and get the new bumper on that we've got over there. Problem is we can't finish the front end off yet because we are missing a few parts which I didn't quite expect. So there's a bracket which is supposed to go on the headlight here and connects to this bolt here. We're missing that. And of course we don't want to put the bumper on yet without sorting this wiring out here and also the washer pipe as well. Now the reason I'm doing this whole front end first before attacking the chassis damage is because we need to know where things sort of line up. So now we have this sort of plastic guard on which we know is 100% straight. We can see where this chassis should line up, which is here, and at the minute it's over there. Now this part of this chassis can actually be bought from Audi in sections. You've got the inner section here and then the outer section here, and you can see it's sort of fused together. It's split apart just there and they're sort of welded together, as you can see, with these little sort of spot welds. Now this section and that section was only £200 altogether from Audi, which I think is pretty reasonable, but we have to make sure that everything all lines up before we start chopping and welding in a new section, else the whole car is going to look all skew with. Now I'd like to have made more progress for you guys, but parts are just holding us back at the minute. So you guys are just going to have to bear with me and stay tuned for the next video. And if you've enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button, and I guess I'll see you in the next video. Peace out. Oh, and it looks like we've got a leak after all. Brilliant.
Drug that